Welcome to this episode. My name is Dennis Duke Wonyala. I don't know whether it's your first episode, second episode, third episode, but well, whichever episode it is, just know that we have more others that we've probably uploaded and you've not watched. With me is Hamis Semanda, the CEO of Ham's Animal Breeding Farm, yes, found here in Kayunga, located about 140 kilometers away from the capital city of this beautiful country called Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. As always, we speak to people who are inspiring, people who are making or creating a difference. And he's one of those who actually moved from his job to creating a source of employment, not just for himself, but for a lot more other people. We want to know, how can somebody manage a big farm? By big farm, I mean Mr. Hamis Semanda's farm is about 60 acres of land, yeah, and that's quite amazing. My farm is 2 acres, and sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. Now, when I had the missus say his farm is 60 acres, I was like, what? 60 acres. First of all, it's not just about the land, but also the resources that are on the land, including the goats. How do you manage the goats or the farm, the goat farm?
Yeah, actually, you're talking about my farm being big, but it's not big because 60 acres are just minor.
Okay.
There is some people here you see, because now you're in this business, people have over 6 square miles, others have 12 square miles. So this is a small farm. But
60 acres to him is very small. Ladies and gentlemen,
yes.
But it's okay. It's a good conversation.
It's a small farm.
When he says small, it looks like it means he has bigger dreams of owning quite those square miles you're talking about.
If somebody could offer me a square mile, I would say I'm somewhere. Because the people I see who have square miles of land are really also farmers, you get. But the same way, if we talk about management, I have here and I have my extra other 3 farms, small farms, which have around 400, 300 goats. But here there are many, you get. And it's the biggest farm, let's say, for myself. It's the biggest.
Okay.
The rest are just small farms. But
supportive farms.
But the way I manage this, and actually I would like people to understand this very, very well. It's one of the challenges that have really made people hate farming because management really becomes a problem to them. Yesterday on my YouTube channel, I was talking about what are the failures of farmers in goat farming and what are the causes. Actually, one of the causes of that, one is management, because we have what they call the pillars of a successful goat farmer. Those pillars contains management. It's called M plus N plus G equals to success. M stands for management, N stands for nutrition, and G stands for genetics. So if you miss either of that, you cannot be successful. So either way, when you plus each of those, goes on to the success. But most of the people are looking at that as a minor thing. But one of the things that manages all that is called management. Because even if you have very good nutrition, if you have very good genetics, and your management is very poor, you can never have the results. But one of the things that really causes trouble in this business is you, Duke, yourself, and your viewers, which are called the CEOs, or the directors, or the investors. Your approach towards your workers makes you fail.
How?
Because people think that if you have the money, you have everything. That is not the case with this farming. Just imagine somebody, you've seen some of my flocks. I have a flock which has over 300 savannas, and most of them are pures. When I talk about pures, I'm talking about 2.5 million. So somebody you call a worker is managing over your 400 millions. That is not a worker, that is a partner. First of all, we have to change our mentality from being managers or from being bosses into partnership. Because how I do this, because most of the people that have failed in this country, they are really mismanaging the workers. I'm not saying that workers are good. Most of the workers are not good. Because now when you go into this business, you're dealing with illiterate people. But those are the people that can affordably handle your condition. You get it?
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with illiterate people, learn how to deal with them. It is very hard to deal with them because you're not on the same level of understanding. You have different levels of understanding.
True.
You get it? So if you're handling these people, this is my approach. Me, I don't own workers. I own partners. Why? Because they're handling my money. All the assets, all the money I have, the so-called money I have, this is my biggest project that has a lot of money. You get it? So I have to pay more attention to it. I have to give it more time. And I have to handle those people who are handling my project, time and respect.
True.
So what do I do? Like for me, because more people have really failed in this business. Why? Because workers have really turned them down. They're cheating them. They have stolen. They don't do what they tell them. They don't do what they say. You get, they fight. They minimize. Me, the way I'm handling these people, I manage one person, the manager. He's answerable to the rest of the people. And he also manages his people because they are not my level, but I can be their friend. So here at HAM, I'm a friend to the workers or to the partners. But the manager, it is our boss. He is our boss. He pays us. Me, I don't pay salary here. He only gives me the bill, and then I give him the money.
And then he sorts himself.
Then he sorts his people. Because it is his people. They are not my people. Actually, some of my workers, I don't even know their names, but I know their faces. I can find him one time, one day, when he has changed even the group. And we have a new group, I can just consult him what happened. Me, I only put him on the pin, and I ask him a lot of questions. He's answerable to whatever happens on my farm. So he's the manager. The manager manages people. What do? Me, I let those workers be my friends. How? I go visit their houses. If I find someone having really very good animals, it doesn't cost me to give him 100,000 apart from his salary. So that means I'm making him my friend. I'm giving him an advance on top of the services that I give them extra. For your information, you people, if you want to make your workers comfortable, give what you can afford. Just imagine if my worker is handling, let's say, 200 goats, and each goat is 500,000. So he's a manager of 50 millions. What do you think if I could maybe spend over 300 on him? It is a very cheap labor if you give him 300,000. And you're not giving it to him as in bulk. You're costing the medical, you're costing the meal, the overall, the gumboots. What does it cost you if you find that person really doing well and you give him some extra money, like 100,000, you know, like 50,000? That is enough for him to be happy.
You get it? Motivating them.
So my work as me here is to motivate those people. Every Saturday I have my fireplace here. I think Dennis will show it to you. We come up together. We have a gathered event of roasting our animals. We dance. Even me, I'm not a boss when I come here on Saturday. I'm a partner. So we dance together. We have fun together. Monday is serious business. It's only the manager that is supposed to control those people. So the moment you do that, I'm telling you, I do not say that all workers will be good. Some workers will not be good.
True.
Some others misbehave. Some others are thieves. Some others abuse others. Some others mistreat others that you cannot even manage to handle. What you do will be good. If he's good, you stay with him. If it does not adjust to what you want, you let him go. And let me tell you one thing. Me, what I do my recording. I do records. I have record books where I register my animals. I have tags that also indicates the number of animals that I have. Once in a while, I jump in and I do census. But even if somebody steals 10 animals when I have 1,000, that is minor. I look at it as a minor thing than losing him. You get it? Because I might have someone else that might steal even more. So we need to learn how to do the adjustments for that case.
You've talked about handling workers and all that. So let's go into the other, how to manage a big farm. Is that all? Or how do you wake up every morning, take stock?
You're talking about the routine. Those are called the daily routines. The daily routines are managed by the manager. Actually, every work knows what to do when. Because most of the time, you know, some people are told that you build, raise the houses and so on. But me, I'm a poor man. I can't afford to do a raise the house because I can't spend over 50 millions or 30 doing a raise the house. So my houses are all ground houses. I think you have seen them. And two, they know not every day that we have to sweep. No, we do bigger exercising yards such that an animal have a bigger space to stay in and drop the droppings or the dung all over. So by the time that dung gets much, that is in like 2-3 days, that's when the guys sweep. So these guys know we have a quarantine area on our farm whereby all the sick are shifted to that area because we have many animals. If you leave 2 sick in this flock, then 3 sick in the other flock, you will not manage to monitor all of them because they've grazed from different areas. So we collect all of them, put them together, so that the person who is handling treatment, and actually all my workers, I have taught them how to do simple treatments. Because I cannot manage to be, you know, coming in to treat or getting a vet to treat in those simple diseases that we can handle by ourselves. So we put all the animals in one quarantine area, so that a person treating the animals, if there is a worker interested in learning how to do treatment, they wake up, get the kit, go to that unit where there is sick animals. Then the owners of the flocks do the observation. In case there is any that has gotten sick, maybe between today and tomorrow, it's also shifted to that unit. So we try always to eliminate sick ones in the healthy animals.
Ones,
yes. So it even gives us simple approach to attend to the animals. And those ones in the flock, in the sick bay, they are not allowed to go to feed. We always bring the feed. So that's where we always talk about the nutrition. But in the management, that's how we do. So every week, every day, people wake up to check out for a sick before they go to the farm to graze. Then after checking out for a sick, they also go to their flocks and make sure there is water, because water is supplied every day. And me, what I did, I made a well, put there a submersive pump. It pumps water and goes direct to the flocks. I think you have seen that. That simplifies their work. And what they have only to do is to go and clean. They go, clean the flock, then, clean the troughs, so that those animals can really have clean water. Then other work, daily, day-to-day routine they do, we have kids. Like for me, Duke, what I do natural synchronization. I remove the males, put them alone. I think you have seen the flock of the males. And I let the females starve. So when I reintroduce the male, that male has that hormone called testosterone. It smells for them. When it smells for the females, they understand that the guy is in. Their body starts to stimulate the hormones. So in the period of 3 months, they will all be on heat and they will all be served. So that means we are handling kids, we are receiving kids in a period of 3 months. So the period of receiving kids, that's when the flock owner will always be going in the morning to release the kids from the kids' pen, to give them to the mothers so that they can suckle. And when the 3 months elapses and all the kids are now grown up, he doesn't need to separate them. But in the night, actually, like after 7, guys go back, the flock owners go back, pick the kids, then put them in the kids' pen. So those are the day-to-day routines that these guys do. Treatment, watering, then separation of kids, and then put them back. That's what we do day-to-day. On a weekly basis, we do the spraying. So there myself, I also come because I enjoy doing it. when I come here and my health is okay, I also do it myself. Those who follow my YouTube channel, they always see Hamisi doing the spraying himself. One guy came here and said, Hamis, you even do the guy's work. Why are you doing the guy's work?
I said to do it by themselves.
Yeah. So I said, this is my money and this is my farm. If I don't get involved, what do? We pay money to go to the gym. Why don't I lift a sprayer on my back
and be doing exercise for free?
You get it? Yes. So we spend money in unnecessary places, but where relevance takes place, we don't want to get involved. So that's what we do, like weekly basis. That's what we do. We spray every week on Sunday. I decided Sunday because Saturday is my day to inspect whatever they have done in the week. Sunday is the day that I meet my people. I want people to come to my farm, see what I do, not to tell them stories. I want them to come, see how we do all that spraying and so on. Then I think those are the routines that we always do on a weekly basis.
Including record keeping as well?
Record keeping is always done when the kids are born. When the kid is born today, we wait, then we record the mother's tag number or name, and then we also record the father's name or tag number. I will show you the records there, and you show to these people. Then after that period, I can decide to say that this week we are going to do census. We go and count. We do a head count. Actually, counting goats is very, very easy. It's controllable. You just put them in one corner, then you count one by one. So those are the routines that we always do. You get? And when I talk about also the management, like my farms, I do not allow or I don't wait for an animal to get sick and I think about of the vaccination. That's why even diseases do not attack me so much as other farms and other people. And I don't lose kids like the way other people are losing. If it comes, I find a solution earlier because I vaccinate like 7 diseases in a year. I make sure that whichever animal I have at my farm, I have to vaccinate it. I have to, yes. Every year is supposed to have around 7 vaccines. And I'm sure that is what I can handle. So those are the routines. But for the nutrition, I think you allow me to talk about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Yes.
We're going to talk specifically about the nutrition in a separate video. So ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who've been asking on how to actually handle or manage a big goat farm, there you go. Get us in the next section. My name is Dennis Duku Onyala. I've been talking to Hamisi Semanda. See you shortly.
All right.